Welcome everyone. I'm Anthony Hero, played joined by Pink, and this is the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode 239.
Good deal, good deal. I like that number.
Now, W will join us later, and also I may sound a bit weird because because of things that I guess will come up during what I did this week.
For now, it's just because reasons.
Yeah. But anyway, Pink, is anything coming out on your channel?
There will eventually be DBD coming out on the channel. There should be stuff with Mike and Korn, and Alex might have been in the call as well. There will also be solo queue misadventures because a recent update came out for DBD and it made solo queue a nightmare, so I thought that would be fun to record. So that's what will all be coming out on my channel in the upcoming future.
Nice. As for me, you will be surprised. So I guess this ties into what I did this week. At the start of the week, I had a small scale depressive episode, which was really great. But it also like I also tried to drown it in work, which means that there's actual videos coming out this week
Oh ho ho!
on both channels.
My.
Yeah. So on my second channel, I actually fucking went back and finished the Last of Us session that I did. So the first part of the edited version of that is coming out on Monday, and then on my main channel, I should have our review of Songbird Symphony up. Now that's not I'm not completely sure about that yet. I may just fucking post it in like the general text area or whatever, and just be like, hey y'all, take it, watch it. I guess if you care, it's all of like 5 minutes. Genuinely, it's 4.5 minutes. I think.
Eh.
Like anxiety is great because like, I don't know if you have to deal with anxiety as well, but anxiety for those who don't have an anxiety disorder is great because it makes it so I spend like a fucking week working on a video, and I'm just like, I don't know if this is good enough for people to see, and then I don't do nothing with it, and eventually I just I just like rewrite the script or whatever, and this just goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great, but yeah, so those are the things you can look forward to this week, or at least on my channels. And as for the group channel, we have Spider-Man for sure.
Nice.
We also have yet another episode of Armello,
Nice.
as well as on Saturday, Stray, similar sounding names. And I believe that is it. I don't think there should be an FGA coming up. I think we did that last week, but it kind of blends together. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that, I guess. But yeah, I believe that is all you're getting this week, and because of all of the stuff we're doing, we may be moving forward for a little bit. We may be releasing 4 videos a week, as in like 4 gameplay videos a week, and on top of those, the podcasts that we do anyway.
Yeah.
Which may mean that we'll be releasing like 6 videos a week, and that's fucking dumb, but you know. Anyway. So, Pink, what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to this week? Let's see. First and foremost, I went back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It had been several months since I touched that game, so I kind of had to relearn the controls all over again because I didn't play it near enough last time to actually get a good hang of it. And I was enjoying my time, and then I remember that it has a stupid leveling system. And then I was enjoying it a bit less.
Yeah.
So in spite of the leveling system, I would just hunt down all the mercenaries that were like 20 levels above me, and I'd Spartan kick them to their deaths in the water or off of cliffs, whatever worked best. And if that failed, I would usually get one shot with an arrow. So that was fun. Fun times.
Yeah, my favorite part of the leveling system is that if they're 3 levels above you, then they kill you immediately. But if they're 3 levels
I
below
know,
you,
right?
but if they're 3 levels below you, haha, those don't exist.
I know, right?
But yeah, This is like this is why I had an argument with Soon recently about the quality of the RPG trilogy, because I prefer Valhalla to both Odyssey and Origins just by virtue of in Valhalla you can make the game so fucking easy. The leveling system doesn't fucking matter.
Mhm.
I can just play the game like an action adventure game with text on RPG stuff instead of having to actually interact with Ubisoft's very bad RPG design. And that's like this is something that I always bring up. But it's one thing that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is not something for me. It's another thing that it's like not a great game, or not a it doesn't feel like a good product to me. Like just
Right.
even as an action RPG, a standalone action RPG, there are better offerings. So basically, what I'm telling you, Pick, is you should play Elden Ring,
No.
but it's not Ninja Gaiden bad.
But it's Elden Ring, and only nerds play Elden Ring.
That's true. So what I'm telling you, Pink, is you should play Sekiro, but a cracked copy, so you don't give money to Activision.
Yeah, that seems like the way to go. And after Odyssey, which I obviously didn't progress too far in, I started playing the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
Ah,
So,
did you do DMC combos on the children?
yes, I was surprised. So it's been years, probably like a decade since I played a new Lego franchise game. I think the last one I played was Indiana Jones in like 20, no, not even 20. Would have been 2009 or 10, maybe. Maybe. Let me actually Google that real quick because I'm very curious. Uh, Lego. Let's see. It came out in 2008. 2008. That was a long ass time ago.
Yeah,
So, that was really the last game I played, and by played I mean, start to finish, everything unlocked, etc. I probably picked up and played one of the Lego Marvel games just a little bit at some point between that and now, but I obviously didn't invest any time into it because, they weren't my games. They just happened to be what was turned on the Wii U or whatever it was on at the time. So I'd play with my little siblings for like 5 minutes and then get bored of it and leave. I didn't like the gameplay of the Lego Marvel games, but going from what I remember of Indiana Jones to what they have now in the Skywalker saga, I was incredibly impressed with how ludicrously far that their combat systems have come. Because in the classic Lego Star Wars, everything was very, 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 very simple.
yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Yep, yep, and in this Skywalker saga, like no longer are there characters who have no combat abilities whatsoever, like Jar Jar, who could only jump high in the original. Now everybody can whip out, and you hit the nail on the head with this one. Everyone can whip out Devil May Cry combos. I'm launching people up into the air and smacking them 1,000 times, and it's like, oh my god, when did this get implemented? And it's
literally started
incredible.
with this game.
That makes sense because
Yeah,
I feel like I
and
would have
that's
remembered that if I had noticed it in
yeah,
one of
that,
the
that's
Marvel ones.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like the combat system may be fun. I don't know because I didn't play it. I have no interest personally in the new Lego Star Wars game, not because of not just because I don't really care about Star Wars or Lego, but especially because I played Lego DC Super Villains or whatever the fuck it was called, I forget.
Yeah,
And the open world game design of Traveler's Tales is horrendous.
yes, that's something I was definitely going to get into.
So yeah, continue
So,
if you want to.
so continue. The combat it works on a combo type system where your X is your basic starting attack, and then you can chain it into the A button or B button or whatever the equivalent is on the nasty ass PlayStation 4, 5, whatever number we're on now. So, it's very similar to games like not Marvel vs. Capcom, that's completely wrong. like Ultimate Alliance, where the combo system is very simple, but it's varied enough that you're not bored with it 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
So I thought that was a massive quality of life upgrade. I was very impressed with it. I really liked it. I liked how you couldn't just keep mashing the X button because eventually, if you keep mashing a single button, it's going to get blocked. So you'll have to switch it up. It's a mandatory combo system, which I was very much enjoying. Any characters with guns or long range weapons? There's actually an aiming system in these games, which there might have been in previous ones. I know that, like, um, Batman, which might have come after Indiana Jones, I don't remember. Batman had a battering system, and I thought that was very poorly implemented for the time. But flash forward to now with the Skywalker saga, and all the long range characters have aiming reticules or an aim mode, and it just feels very pleasant to use. It was implemented very nicely. Headshots actually account for something, which was I was very taken back by because it's like, wow, they actually thought that far ahead to implement a headshot system. That's kind of cool because they didn't have to. Nobody would expect that in a children's game, but
yeah.
they did. So my hat is off to the combat designers. I really liked the close quarters combat. I really liked the long range gun or other object combat. I really liked some of the quote unquote boss levels with the lightsaber duels. I thought those were very well implemented in a way that isn't completely boring, is rather cinematic, but also doesn't feel like I don't know, doesn't feel like you're completely stripped of your abilities in favor of like a quick time event or anything. It kind of blends the cinematic approach and a gameplay approach, which I really appreciated. And now for the more critical parts, the story, well, not the story, the gameplay chapters themselves. So you're obviously familiar with the previous, and by previous I mean original Lego Star Wars games from like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
I played 1 and 2. I didn't play 3.
oh, no problem. I think all three of those are more or less the same. Three was obviously upgraded a lot more from one, but they didn't differ too
No,
drastically.
three was the Clone Wars TV show, and then one and 2 were the original trilogy and prequel trilogy, if I remember.
I think the third one was actually the complete saga, and then they did the Clone Wars.
You might be right.
I think I'm right because I feel like Clone Wars actually came much later. I feel like they had done a couple other different franchises with the Lego games before they went back to Star Wars, the Clone Wars. So, as you know, the previous Lego games, the originals, they started off with the first movie of whatever trilogy you were playing, and there were, I want to say, 8 levels per film,
I think
chapter,
so.
whatever you want to call it. In this one, there are five relatively longer levels per chapter or movie, but they're also implemented in a way where I think the level design is very, very, very weak comparative to the originals, which is not great because we're 20 years later and that the level design has kind of regressed backwards. Kind of doesn't sit right with me. So the combat is fine, it's fun, but the level design it's really lacking. There used to be a relatively formulaic feel to every Lego Star Wars level that you played in the old days. In this one, there's kind of not really any formula at hand, and there's no, in the originals, a lot of level design was just break this thing, build another thing, and then that'll progress you through the level. In these, it's more along the lines of it's almost like a side-scrolling shooter, except obviously not side-scrolling. You're just progressing basically from point A to B, shooting some clones or stormtroopers, and then you go on to the next level. And each level is kind of merged with the free roam aspects of the world. So the the level design is very weak. It takes like 10 minutes per level, and you don't really feel like you accomplish a lot because a lot of it is just the run and gun aspects or kind of a not really a item hunting type of scenario, but along similar lines. Like there's a level where it's kind of just a what's it called? A wave, enemy wave type system where Chewbacca's fixing up the. I was about to say the Mandalorian, the Millennium Falcon, and so his little progress meter is going as it does. And your mission objective is just to kill all the stormtroopers that will come in wave after wave after wave as the progress bar fills. Which that's a level design you'd expect from 2002, but it's 2022 now, and the standards have kind of risen. So I thought that was a weak aspect. There were some levels where it's literally start at point A, go to point B, and your only obstacles are the stormtroopers that they throw at you. So that was kind of weak. There's uh, the classic pod race, which is just a legitimate pod race. It's not really any different from the original Lego Star Wars. It's just in first person now, which makes it look like butt. So that was another disappointment. Overall, there are just way too many levels that felt like they weren't meaningful to play through in any way. They weren't particularly fun to play through in any way. And it doesn't feel like there are as many quote unquote secret areas that you can't access with the base story characters and will have to come back and free play like there was in the old days. Now it's just everything's a bit too obvious. So I've not really appreciated that all that much. And
Yeah,
the
like
fact that the stages merge, so you'll be playing chapter 1, then you'll finish chapter 1 and it dumps you off into the free roam area, but it plays it off as if the story is still progressing because you'll still have your story objectives in the free roam world. But because the free roam world isn't an actual level, it just feels like almost tonal whiplash, where you're going from shooting a bunch of stormtroopers, breaking a lot of stuff, and building a lot of stuff, except not really because there's less breaking and building nowadays for some reason. But you go from the action packed level you were playing to now it's free roam. You've got nothing to worry about, but the story is still quote unquote progressing. You still have the objective, and your objective is to go to the next level indicator and start the next level. And it just feels like an awkward break in pace. So I feel like level design has really, really, really taken a major step backward, and I felt that with a lot of the Marvel games as well, or any other Lego game I played in between. So, unfortunately, that aspect of the game that I felt was their weaker aspect, still very weak. So, if you're a big free roam guy, maybe they put a lot of work into their free roam, and maybe that's very enjoyable. I've
not
not put a
really.
lot of time into. Yeah, I don't believe it either, but I've not put a lot of time into the free roam. And then doing some googling, I learned that a lot of the unlockables are very much tied to the free roam side quests. So I'm like, oh, that's a joy. I mean, I assume like somebody younger than my age would appreciate it, but me being an adult and only really coming back to the Lego series for nostalgia's sake, it's kind of not happy to see that like almost everything is tied to free roaming side quest. I would have liked more passion and energy to be put into the actual level designs, but it is what it is.
Yeah, my thing is that like, I watched videos or I watched live streams of this game when it came out, and like the thing that turned me off a lot with the level design and stuff like this, well, the free roam is. I know that the free roam is bad because I played DC Supervillains, and the things that are in the Star Wars free roam are legitimately pretty much one to one the same things that were in DC Supervillains. So I know how they work,
Yep.
and I don't like them. But also
Yeah.
the as you said, the level designs feel the ways the levels are designed feel like they lacked passion or whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
with a lot of presentation and the level design factors into this, I guess. But with a lot of presentation, it feels like they're trying to make it so the Lego games are, quote unquote actual games instead of silly Lego games. But
Yeah.
being silly Lego games is what made the Lego games like unique and good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
they're like, here, have a serious cutscene, or have like a mostly serious cutscene uh of people talking and shit. And
Hmm.
also the like, we were just gonna try to recreate the movies mostly as faithfully as possible. There's gonna be like maybe a couple of gags, especially in the Star Wars game, because that can make callbacks to gags that were in the originals. But like, there's very much like a drought in humor. And
Yeah,
what made
absolutely.
what made the original games, especially Lego Star Wars 2, I mean, well, especially for Lego Star Wars 2 for me, because that's the one I spent the most time with. But what made that game special is that it's like is that sometimes there was just wacky dumb Lego shit happening, and they just acted like that was normal. Like, I don't know if you remember this, and I may be misremembering it, but if I remember correctly, there's a part, I forget which episode this is, and which part of, or which level of the episode it is, but there's this part where you need to put on a helmet of a bounty hunter to sneak past a door.
Yeah.
And if you put on enough bounty hunter hats, then it just like gives you like a postman hat or whatever, and that also lets you in.
Yeah.
There, from judging from the things that I have seen from the new Star Wars game and also from DC Supervillains, that's not a thing that they would do nowadays.
Hmm.
And I think that's a problem because that dumb stuff is the things that sold that game to me.
Yeah, the it doesn't really have the classic Lego humor anymore. That kind of died out like a decade ago. And it's very disappointing because yeah, there are very many cutscenes in the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga where it just plays it straight, but maybe there's something bouncing around in the background to be like, haha, this is funny, we're humorous, but with the dialogue that they have added to the cutscenes, all that is played straight. A lot of it is just straight up quotes from the films, and there's no jokes to be had. So, yeah, the humor, the classic humor, that's basically gone,
Yeah, and
and it's sad.
there's also a thing of like, they like, I've seen this I've seen people argue this, but like, there's the muffle option or whatever, where they talk like they did in the old games. But the problem isn't the dialogue necessarily. The problem is that it lacks humor. Like, just because I make it so I can't understand what the fuck Obi-Wan is saying doesn't mean that he's gonna start using like more emphasized, I guess, movements to convey what he's trying to say. They're still using the same
Yeah.
animation, which just means that I'm missing out on the lore. Well, you know what? I'm missing out on experiencing fucking the Last Jedi again. But
Hmm.
still, like, it's the muffle mode or whatever doesn't add anything.
Yep. Yep. The mumble mode.
Yeah, that's the one. Because the problem isn't just that people are talking. The problem is that the cutscenes are animated with the idea that people will be talking and you will understand what they're saying.
Yeah. The old games the cutscenes were made better because of the restrictions and their ingenuity and creativity to work around their restrictions. Now that they don't have restrictions, they just animated everything as it was.
Yeah,
They're not taking any liberties or thinking, "Hey, we can't really convey information via dialogue, so how do we convey information in a different way, in a creative way?" They don't have those creative limitations anymore, and that made them less creative, ironically.
Yeah, I mean there is a saying that limitations breed creativity. So
Yep. Yep. That's exactly what happened with the original franchise and why it kind of failed to deliver that level of creativity 20 years later.
yeah. So did you do anything else, Pink?
Did I do anything else? I don't think I did.
All right. I guess I'll go ahead with my week then. So let's see. What do I want to start with? I guess let's start with our. I don't know.
That's a good place to start.
So I have made a couple of thumbnails. That's the things I've been working on the most. I trust you've seen the straight thumbnail, but I'm gonna post it anyway.
Yes, I did see it.
But the reason I'm posting it is for comparison because you see there was an alternate thumbnail that I also made. It didn't see the light of day, so that's the thumbnail that we use. But originally the thumbnail was supposed to be this. I just figured people wouldn't get it because you need to watch like the fourth episode to actually get what
Yeah.
that's a reference to. So yeah,
Yeah, the first thumbnail is probably the safer option.
but yeah. So I did that. I also began working on remaking the Terraria best of thumbnail.
Ooh.
So here's the sketch for that. And then for comparison, I also uploaded the old one, so you can see how much it changed and how much it didn't change, I guess. So that the lower one is the old one, and then we have the new one.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: zoom in on the fucking Moonlord's face. I spent an hour drawing that, just his face,
I believe
the
it.
small creases.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like I legitimately did everyone else, and then went on to Moonlord. I also thought about giving Pablo a pimp jacket and a hat somewhere on the ground, but I was like, that may be too much. I also like how no matter how much time passes, I still can draw Guile. Like it's better, still not good, but better, I guess. Like how do I say this? Like you can tell that it's the same character between these two
Yeah.
drawings,
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will actually realize that it's supposed to be Guile. And I also did the thumbnail for Assassin's Creed, which I'm gonna have to run by W so he can say if he likes it or not. But here's the full art, and then let me get the version with the actual thumbnail stuff. So there's that.
Nice.
So I don't know if you can actually see it without zooming in, but I also applied chromatic aberration to this, and I feel like it's nice, but I don't know. What do you think?
I like it.
All right, did I convey depth well enough? Are the proportions
Yeah.
right? Because I spent so much time on this, I can't fucking tell anymore. It just looks off.
I think it looks fine.
All right. So yeah. Then also, I went ahead and made the Sonic thumbnail for this year, just prematurely.
Oh boy.
There's that. I think it turned out nice.
That is very nice.
This was inspired by one of the Dolly drawings or whatever the Dolly generated images. Let me see if I can fetch that so you can compare. Where is I literally had a thing saved here for just that. Okay, let me. Okay, 1 second. I know where it is. I just need it just takes more than a click. So yeah, this was inspired by one of these. Let me see. It's the
Oh
bottom
yeah.
right.
Yep.
And the thing is, like for this year, I'm using the bottom right. Next year, I might use the right middle. That was also really good. And top
Yeah.
left is also really good. I like that one too. I like how like, in the first thumbnail, which I'm also gonna have to go back and rework. But the first Sonic thumbnail was just giant Sonic. The second one didn't get a thumbnail, but I'm gonna have to fix it. I guess Pink, if you like any of these, then tell me and I can make that the thumbnail for the Sonic video you recorded.
Which one should I use?
But yeah, so like that's gonna be that, and then like the last Sonic Adventure 2 video, just tentacles, and forevermore Sonic is just tentacles.
Yes.
But yeah, do you like any of these enough to have me actually like make it?
I almost like the top right one because it's just a eldritch mess on top of a body.
I mean, that just looks like that just looks like Sonic trying to pose as a person, but his hair is also made of snakes.
Yeah.
I could try making that. So yeah, that. Also, I let's see. I just realized I forgot to save your thing. I was going to, but I I got caught up in stuff. This week was long. I'm gonna do it for next week. Like I'm just gonna send it off podcast. Anyway, I also redrew one of my OCs. The one that was named by W, Big Ball. And this was originally had a background, but I didn't like that drawing. And I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Like if nothing else, uh, I got fur practice in, which hey, that's nice.
Yeah.
Now the thing, one of the issues I seem to be having right now is that like I have a consistent enough style and stuff now for with actual drawing, but the things that I see that amaze me a lot is like painting. I don't fucking know how you paint. Like I don't think like
Me either.
like I don't know how many years just looking at drawing tutorials and stuff like that. Even before y'all agreed to try and help me learn how to draw. So like I had some basis to go off of, and I practiced a lot and stuff like that. I will need to actually look into painting tutorials for digital painting specifically, because funnily enough, I have some general knowledge of how you paint IRL, just not digitally.
Yeah.
Like I could probably actually paint a landscape IRL at least, but because I've seen enough Bob Ross, but that's not how it works digitally. Sadly, okay, I
True.
can't I can't beat the devil out of the Wacom pad.
This is true.
But like technically, I could. I would just have to buy a new one
Yeah, but nobody wants to do that.
because it runs on the devil. All right, then. I've also, as I've said, gotten back to doing stuff with reviews. I've actually like not only is one may possibly coming out this week, I'm also halfway done with another script, and for that one, I figured it would be nice to have a thing that shows the song titles if I'm playing with music from other games and stuff like that. So I made this. The spikes aren't there in the finished product. That was just kind of a glitch that happened with the art software.
Ah.
But yeah, the best part of this thing is that I don't know how much you're familiar with animating in editing softwares. Think. But
Not very.
okay, I have a lot of experience animating in Premiere. Premiere is not the software you go to edit or to animate shit. Like it can do basic animating, but like even for the most basic stuff, you usually go to After Effects, which I don't have and can't use. Like even if I had After Effects, I tried to use it, I can't. But yeah,
Mm.
so Premiere is very primitive when it comes to animating stuff. To actually use this the way that I want to and have it moving the way I want to, I had to save uh, both halves of this separately, which included making this thing that you're seeing, deleting it, and then
Mm.
taking the two halves, remaking the whole thing to look like they belong together, and then saving them separately, but with the same dimensions, so that hopefully they'll line up. They won't. Like I know from experience, like I want them to line up, which is why I saved it that way. Chances are they won't.
Yeah.
And then I also went ahead and made a new stream start whatever splash screen. Yeah. And with that one, like I tried to go with because I don't know if this came across the one time you saw my BRB screen, which I'm also gonna have to remake eventually. But it's not like I'll be streaming anytime soon. But
Yeah.
I don't know if this came across, but the one of the inspirations for the BRB screen was a video game loading screen. Specifically, like to me, the way I'm thinking of it, I imagine like the my inspirations were two games that I don't like, Mega Man and GTA, for loading
Yeah.
screens. The GTA usually has the floating people and shit like that, and Mega Man has the quickly moving banner text. And I also even thought about making it so instead of just switching between a black screen or fading to black and then onto the BRP screen, just making it so warning pops up at the start of it, but then warning would also pop up at the end of it, and that doesn't really work with what I'm trying to go for. Have you played Mega Man? I think you have.
Yes.
Or did you play any of the ones with the warning? Because that's
I
X, I
don't
think.
remember.
Did you play Mega Man X?
I don't know. I mean, I assume that's Mega Man 10. I probably played the
No.
first five, or attempted to play anyway.
No, Mega Man X is a separate spin-off series, I guess, technically. Or like it's set like 100 or 1,000, I forget, years after the Mega Man you played then.
Mm.
So yeah, that thing had before the bosses would come on screen, there would just be a flashing thing on the screen that says warning, and I really liked that. I don't know why, but anyway, so here's the stream start screen that I tried to make fit with the BRB screen. I also didn't want to lose the pictures though, so I made the green parts, and hopefully I can fit the pictures in with enough legibility that you can still read the funny things. And
Ah.
I will proceed to animate this so it looks like a title screen, hopefully. And I also made the logo because I had to because it's a video game, and I'm proud of this one because it's a glorious train wreck is what this logo is. And that's on purpose. I'm trying to send the logo over, but it won't. It refuses. Let me try it again. There we go.
Yeah.
So as you can see, actually, I think I will have to read this out because the logo, this is Japanese standard. The logo is a fucking mess, and you don't know how to read it. But the stream's full title is officially now Stream X Xrd Accent Core Plus R Sharp Revengeance fucking Bird by Sleep Rechain of Memories Dream Not Distance 358 over 2 days Revelations and Knuckles featuring Funky Fresh mode.
Where's the featuring Funky Fresh? Oh, that's what it is at the top right
Yeah.
there.
Now I stopped myself at this point because I was like it made like I don't want to go overboard, but I also thought of adding 1.5 plus 2.5 HD remix Kiwami, and let's see what else was there that I was going to add. I was also going to add the sticker from Shin Megami Tensei where it says featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series, and then just the Korat from the DMC5 cover that's featuring Virgil. I was also going to add to the top of it a spoof on Metal Gear's, I guess, subtitle. It was above the logo, but I don't know. Like, you know how Metal Gear says tactical espionage action. I was going to add tactical espionage action, but I thought all of those are going a bit too hard. There's enough titles already. I may still add the fucking the Dante and Virgil shit and 1.5 2.5 HD remix Kiwami. Kiwami just means extreme in Japanese, by the way. But yeah, I think I did good. Like the thing is with this logo is that, like, you know, it's visual diarrhea on purpose, but there are parts of it that work in my opinion. Like the Revengeance with the all of the Kingdom Hearts titles under it, okay, except for 358 over 2 days. I think that works as an actual logo. Like if I just cut it out from this logo and you know moved it somewhere else, it would look fine. And I also just think that Revelations and Knuckles is a very funny subtitle for something to have.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like an old or Hong Kong cinema movie title, like fucking The Legend of a Thousand Fists, Revelations and Knuckles.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, uh, did I do any other art stuff this week? I don't know. No, it does not seem like it. So yeah. Then, let's see. Video games. I will save one for W because that's one that he'll care about. So, I finished Agatha Christie's ABC Murders.
All right.
That game was fine. I don't. Honestly, I don't know if the plot twist was coming, but honestly, like the way they set it up, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to follow as a plot, and it's not really to the detriment of the game. It's just like there was a point at which they put in clues to incriminate anyone that you've met in the whole game. And at that point, I was like, okay, I guess everyone's the culprit. Everyone killed that one guy.
Hmm.
And like no real spoilers for who it is and stuff like that. But legitimately, the thing was kind of convoluted because it was like, hey, this person bought a typewriter and wrote messages to this other person, and then also sent the typewriter to the person, but also wrote the things in gloves so that they wouldn't leave like. I'm too far gone pink. I really call them paw prints. Fingerprints. Help. So anyway, so, so they did it in gloves, so they wouldn't leave fingerprints. And the person that they sent it to had medical problems that made it so they would forget things, and this was used so that they would be incriminated as the person who is responsible, but also they didn't know because when you interrogate them, they're like, I didn't do it, and then Poirot goes, you did it, and he goes, I did it, and then Poirot goes, no, you didn't do it. He goes, I did. He goes, I didn't. It was a scene. But yeah, I had fun with the game. I didn't like it as much as I did the Sherlock Holmes games, but that's also a different thing of like this is one case. This is one big case. This is one big complicated case. The Sherlock Holmes games has multiple cases with Sherlock's home life, I guess, serving us the overarching narrative. And uh, it's a lot easier to understand into information when it's just like, okay, so this pertains to this case and this case only. This I need to
Mm.
solve this one person's murder, and it can only be these people. In Agatha Christie's ABC murders, there's three people you need to find the killer for, and anyone could have killed them. Everyone has a motive, especially Poirot. For reference, Pink, you play as Poirot.
I see.
But yeah, so overall, I think I already did a summary like this, but whatever. Overall, I liked the game. It was fine. It wasn't, you know, fucking amazing, but it was good for what it was, and they did all they could, and honestly, it was written okay. Like I know it's an adaptation of a book, so you kind of expect it to be written okay, but considering The Witcher, I don't need to go further.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't know if The Witcher books are written any better. Like I heard mixed things about the books as well.
Yeah.
Then I played a bit of both Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell, and this was the first time I played Get Out of Hell.
Okay.
So I played Saints Row 4. I booted up, and I'm like, man, I played through Saints Row 3 recently. I played through Saints Row 2 recently. I might as well, play Saints Row 4. So I boot up Saints Row 4. And 20 minutes in, I'm like, bored. Just completely. Utterly bored. Like, I don't know how or why the superpowers take so much away from the game. Oh, right, that's the thing that made me so bored. Ubisoft Towers. The fucking Borgia Towers. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. That makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, after that, I would have Get Out of Hell because I downloaded both of them at the same time, and I had not played Get Out of Hell. And I also hadn't heard anything from it, so I'm like, okay, I'll just play through it because I'll like I can see if maybe there's a thing where they justify resetting the universe or whatever. I couldn't stomach it for similar reasons. Only instead of Borgia Towers, it was Mafia 3.
Ooh.
So the small bit, like, this may be better later, but I got too many flashbacks. I just wasn't interested. Also, like, I guess another thing to point out here: Get Out of Hell is the only Saints Row game without cheats,
Oh.
which removes like 90% of the fun out of Saints Row.
Yeah.
So that combined with the whole introduction part of the game just being like, hey, go to these enforcers, do a mission for the enforcers, and then assign a hood to your enforcers so you can enforce them and enforce. And
Yes.
I'm just
Understood that.
I'm just having flashbacks to Mafia 3 because that's the whole gameplay loop. But at least Mafia 3, like, as bad as the gameplay loop is, at least it sets on a solid foundation. Like Mafia 3, I know Mafia 3 has a solid foundation because for the Mafia 1 remake, they just took Mafia 3 and put the first game, like, it's put the first game skin over it, more or less, when it comes to mechanics and shit. And that's why I know that Mafia 3's gameplay, or rather Mafia 3's basis for or its mechanics are fine if the gameplay loop and whatever the game design isn't. Saints Row has never felt good. Like, Saints Row is only fun when you're not actually playing the game, you're turning all of the cheats on, and then just fucking you're this demigod that eats bullets.
Mm.
Because otherwise, Saints Row just feels kind of janky and disjointed, and somehow, depending on which game we're talking about, somehow maybe even this like badly optimized. I'm not even talking about the PC port of Saints Row 2, which is well known for not running. But yeah, like the big changes in Get Out of Hell is that instead of a super jump, you get fly. You get to fly better. But yeah, you get flight, and it works mostly as the same as the super. Oh no, we do have the super jump. What did it replace? Gliding. There we go. It replaces gliding. But yeah, they made it so instead of gliding, you can actually fly. It's fun for a bit. It's kind of like it kind of controls like the wing cap, but like kind of worse because it's tied to your stamina bar, and you can't make infinite stamina because there's no cheats. So yeah, like legitimately, if the game that cheats, I would have just fucking suffered through the Saints Row gameplay because that's what I did with the rest of the games. But I wasn't really interested in trying to make things work with actually having to play Saints Row because I don't enjoy actually playing Saints Row. Then, another game that I played is Stray, which you know because
Yep, I was there for some of that.
yeah, you were there for roughly one third or maybe even a half of my second playthrough of Stray, and you will be
Mhm.
there for the second half of that too. So Stray, uh, spoiler, Stray is the game I'm writing a review about. So just come back next week when I know. I mean, it is shoot the game I'm writing the review about, but like I'm not that big of an asshole if you just be like, hey, so I played this game, watch my review. No, I'm gonna tell you my opinion and then ask you to watch my review anyway, even though you know my opinion.
Yes.
But yeah, Stray is uh like Stray wouldn't be half as good if it didn't have attention to detail, and that's pretty much the only thing that saves it. Like, uh, like I know I'm sort of biased as someone who is kind of just neutral on cats. Like I don't hate them, I don't like them. I'm just like, you cat.
Yeah, that is a cat, all right.
Yeah, but like because of that, I'm not like, oh, cat is doing cat stuff, how cute and whatever. Like I'm not I didn't fucking like stop. Like okay, just because it's a cat doing cute cat things, I didn't fucking like. Well, I wasn't amazed. How they implemented those cat things into the actual puzzle design and the gameplay design, and how once again attention to detail, making sure that it looks right and acts right because you are a cat, or things that I was amazed by though. So in a way, I was amazed by the cat, but not because of merely cat things, but people's attention to making sure the cat did cat things.
Yeah.
And yeah, like otherwise, if you remove the attention to detail, which I mean like this is most games, but if you remove the attention to detail, the game is not as good. Shocking, I know, but for real, like if we pull everything back and we just try to look at Stray as what defines this game as a video game, because Cat isn't really like big enough. Like there's not really many games in the genre of Cat,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
like there's Cat lateral damage, which I don't know if I didn't know if during the last recording if you thought I was joking that there's a game called Cat lateral damage, but that exists.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's very bad. Like it
Oh
used to be,
no.
it was YouTuber bait for a bit, and then
Oh,
I
that
forget
explains it.
yeah, and then I forget what they updated, but they updated something and it just made the game bad apparently. And there's like I think a sequel as well. Anyway, oh yeah, no, it wasn't that the game they updated it to get the game broke. It's just that the game has no staying power because it's just you are cat destroy things. Okay, good, next level.
Actually, I probably did see like videos of it back in the day.
But yeah, so There's that game. There's this game. What other games are there in the genre of cat? I don't think there's many more. I can't think of any. Can you?
I cannot.
All right, I guess there's those two, but like but when you pull it back, get lateral damage is an arcade game, and Stray is a puzzle platformer adventure game. So even between the two cat genre quote unquote games, it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, and that's why it's important, I guess. Like this is one thing, one of those things where I go on a rant, and it's really just to think of like, hey, if you want to do criticism, this is something that's important, so it's important to me.
Yeah.
But like having a basis of comparison, both with having experience with a wide array of genres, is important, but also being able to pull back all of the glitter and shit, and just look at what the game is offering as a video game, and what genre it could fit into, and how it's redefining or just reinforcing the ideas established by those genres and stuff like that. Which, like, it's the thing of, like, let's take Souls for example, because it's popular. Souls is now its own genre, but if you want to pull it back enough, Souls is not quote unquote special, because Souls is an action RPG. Like, Souls is technically it would be, or Souls technically would be in the same genre as The Witcher 3. The thing that's separating them is Souls level design, which is very unique, and or I guess not really level design. It's both the level design and the overall game design language that they use, with the high risk high reward, or in theory slow movement but high damage, whatever the fuck they have going on, and that makes it unique. That's how it redefines the genre of action RPG, and thus becomes its own genre. And doing this shit, mental gymnastics like this, is important, so you can actually be like, hey, this game is attempting such and such things, and it's either doing them fine or failing at them, and here's why.
Yeah.
And I could just feel that you checked out completely, because I went on the rant.
No problem, no problem.
It's fair. But yeah, so basically, when you pull back all of the attention to detail and the things that make the game be about a cat, Stray is an action, and not an action, fucking hell, an adventure puzzle platformer. And this is something I pointed out in the script that I have written so far, is that when I say puzzle platformer, I don't mean puzzle dash platformer, I mean puzzle comma platformer. It's
Yeah.
separately a puzzle game and a platformer, but not really both at the same time.
Yeah,
And
you do the puzzles to platform.
yeah, and then you platform to do the puzzles. But
Exactly.
you never have to do a puzzle or, well, how should I say this? You're never doing a puzzle while platforming.
Yeah.
And when I look at it that way, like, as an adventure game, it's a story. That's it. Like, when I looked at Wikipedia, it said it's an adventure game, so that's why I'm saying that it is. But I disagree with that, because like, anything is an adventure game. Like, literally anything with a story is an adventure game at this point, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so uh and that's why I like the puzzle platformer thing better myself, because to me, if you look at Stray's gameplay, what are the most defining parts of the Stray's gameplay? Like, what are the most overarching things that you do always in the game?
You knock over planks to crawl in them.
Yeah, that's a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing puzzles, or you're platforming. and
Mm-hmm.
and so, looking at other puzzle platform, or whatever, well, okay, I don't actually know that many puzzle slash platformers, or whatever you want to call this. So I don't really have a good basis for comparison. But I have played puzzle games, and I have played platforming games, and I have played puzzle dash platformers. So I would hope I can fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And going by that, like, there's not that many things that are particularly new or this will sound bad but interesting in Stray because the puzzles aren't really hard. I mean, most of them are just locked to whatever your area you're in. And in fact, I don't think I can think of a. Oh no, there is one. There is one puzzle later in the game where you have to go through a whole city. Okay, there we go. So there's one puzzle I can remember where it's not just hey you're in this room. Everything you need to solve the room is in this room.
Hmm.
As a platformer, I mean the jumps are automatic, and that's pretty much it says everything about it being a platformer. Like you do jump, and you do still need to look at where you're going, but you're never really risking not making a jump because then the game just won't give you the prompt. Like you just need to figure out a route or a route. There we go. I said it right. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you need to figure out a route. And once you have the route, you can just move up there. And because of this, like Stray wouldn't be half as good if it didn't have the small little touches, like like when we walked all over the keyboard and actually typed out the letters, or
Yeah.
or all of the piano keys making separate sounds depending on which piano keys you're pushing down, or
Hmm.
I don't know what to say, what else to say. The scratching thing, but like that's a twofold thing because scratching stuff both on the ground and next to the cat uh alone isn't something that I would be impressed by, but the sheer amount of effort they had to go through to make sure that everything that you should logically be able to scratch you can must have like it must have taken some time to do that, and
Yeah.
and also there are some puzzles that you can only do by scratching.
Oh.
Like in the part that you saw, there was the time I forget whose house we were in, but we broke into a guy's house. And to leave the oh yeah, do you remember the part where you have to take out the battery from the from the ventilator and then jump down into the house?
Yeah.
So to leave that house, you need to scratch on the window cover so it would fly up and then you can actually leave through the window. And like it's those little things that that raise this game above just being an okay puzzle slash platformer slash adventure game.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically like I don't know how much this game costs in like real bucks because I have it through PS Plus. But
I can probably look that up real quick.
all right,
It's on my Steam wish list. Do. Oh, that's wrong. Clicking the wrong thing. $30 in American.
okay. I'm gonna be real. I don't know if it's worth $30.
Neither do I.
Like, I, like this sounds bad. I know because just going to a new game with obviously a lot of heart put into it. Because if there wasn't a lot of heart, there wouldn't be this much fucking attention to detail. But looking at a game and going, I don't know if that's worth the money they're asking. It always kind of sucks.
Hmm. I think it's also a matter of the developers themselves, as passionate as they were about their game, they probably also know as well that this isn't like a major AAA title with AAA title gameplay or anything. This is a passion project that will do very well on Twitch for about a month and then kind of fade into the background as most Twitch flavors of the month do.
Yeah, but you also like for this thing like the reason I'm conflicted with this game is that like it's 4 hours of content, maybe a bit more if you want to go to the completionist line, but let's say maybe 6 hours of content for $30, and the story is nice, the world is nice, there's a lot of attention to detail, but for $30, like there's a lot of games that launch or you can buy at $30. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes a lot more budget went into them, or they're a lot more varied than this game. So it's a thing of if you look at Stray and you say, hey, this game looks cool. The things that we just talked about how the platforming is nigh non-existent aside from planning the routes, and how the puzzles are usually very easy to solve. Like that, okay, you know that the puzzles in this game are not difficult
Hmm.
because I did them without looking at a guide, and that's the thing. Like there were times in Final Fantasy IX or just any Final Fantasy really in general when I'm just like I enter a room, I'm just like this looks like a puzzle room. Let's look at the guide, and then the guide is like, hey, so you need to walk 3 screens to the left, and then two screens to the to down to fucking downwards, and you will see a button. Press that button and then run back, and then this will open a door that you need to go through to then get to then go to a different puzzle. Because Final Fantasy is fucking masochistic. But
Yeah.
at the end of like 5 puzzles chained together, you get an elixir, like a basic as elixir. But yeah, so yeah, I say like I'm saying this both to you, Pink, and to whatever audience may be watching this eventually. But like my thing with Stray is that it's fine. It's a very fun game for whatever time it takes, and it is um like as much as I'm raising the lack of length with this game as a negative, I consider it a positive. I'm just when I wager whether or not something is worth money, I usually wager it with what the general consensus on what determines whether something is worth money or not is sort of my opinions and whatever. But yeah, so like I enjoyed this game in part due to it being short, but at the
Yeah.
same time uh I guess urge you or whatever the fuck it would be the right word to use here. To, look at the game, decide for yourself if you think it's worth $30 to you. I mean, you've seen enough of the game. I think at this point to determine that because you've seen some puzzles like genuinely you've seen one area and there's three. So
Yep. Yep.
but like it's for anyone to decide whether it's worth $30 for themselves. Otherwise, it's if I had to set a price, I would just lower it by 10. Like that's it, because it's definitely worth $20.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Stray. Then let's see. Uh, well then, okay. So there's a lot of personal stuff that I want to talk about. So now I'm just trying to wait through it to figure out which was the ones we can go through real quick and shit like that. So anyway,
Yeah.
the reason I sound weird is because I may have COVID again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's no good.
So what happened was, uh, my mom's half brother's ex-wife came to visit us because she's sick, as in, she has cancer, and
Mm.
yeah, and she felt like not because she lives in the capital, we don't. Uh, she felt like people weren't paying attention to her, so she came down here to see if we can help her, and she's in hospital now. Like the thing is, it was good that she came down here because in the capital, the not the first, maybe the first responders, I don't know, the people who go out in the ambulance,
Yeah.
they would just look at her and go, "We're not bringing you in. They can't do anything," and just leave
Yeah.
somehow. But yeah, over here, the people came out and they actually like looked at her and then took her to the hospital because she needs a hospital. For fuck's sake.
No kidding.
But yeah, so she's in the hospital right now. She seems to be better, so that's good. But
Nice.
before she came down here, uh, she she was visited by her sister, and her sister may have COVID because she has COVID. As we found out when the ambulance people showed up, which in turn means that we may have COVID because everyone's fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I
On
believe it.
on the bright side, I've already gone past the actual really like bad part of when I had COVID the first time, which was when like I feel like I definitely told you all about this, but I don't think you were in the call when it was going on. I think I think I recorded the first Hitman recording, the first Hitman 2016 session with W going, oh, if I'm making like too realistic pain noises, I'm not RPing. It feels like I'm being punched in the dick every 30 seconds. And it did. And
Oh,
I've
that's terrible.
yeah, I've been through that now. So hey,
That's terrible.
I mean, on the bright side, this time it only took me a day instead of 5.
No, that's better, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's why I sound weird because I am sick.
Aha.
And let's see what else can I really bring up. The best thing is that like I I had this whole thing laid out in my head yesterday. Getting ready for yesterday, and then having to delay it kind of just fucked it up. Oh, by the way, yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I forgot to bring up during the what came out, or what's coming out on the channel this week. Straight in release yesterday. So yeah,
Oh,
let's see. But I guess this is a topic that I wanted to bring up because I don't know if I'm just in the wrong or not. But and like this may be something that you just generally don't have an opinion on, Pink, because you don't seem like the kind of person. But whatever. Anyway, so labels are a thing, yes.
labels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you agree that there's a point where people try to stretch the definition of a label too hard, so hard that it becomes moot?
Do I believe there's a point where people stretch
The definition,
the definition of a label too hard? Maybe. Really depends. Probably. I think I could agree with that.
because like this is a thing that I've seen both with the furry community and with the community, where there's a sentiment of, if you say that such and such a thing or person is a furry, I'll go with that, I guess, because that combination is more prevalent. But yeah,
Yeah.
like as long as you say that something or someone is a furry, then they are. And similarly with AAs, is just, if you say that that's such and such behavior is behavior or whatever that it is. And while I get the inclusiveness, because people want to be included because their whole experience with life has just been being excluded from shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels kind of there's a point at which, because like, how do I put this? I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. So yeah, there's a point at which things become so vague that I feel like the point of the label is lost, because the reason labels exist is so you can quickly go, hey, this thing, and the people understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's the point where the definition is just, vague and to the point of just whatever. Then why even have the thing? And this also leads to arguments sometimes, especially in the ace community. I've seen this where uh there's sex favorable aces and sex repulsed aces. are pretty much arguing constantly, back and forth, bickering because each other's existence invalidates the other, pretty much.
Yeah, that
And
does sound like a kind of weird there.
and the thing is, like, asexuality is a spectrum, apparently. This is like this is something that I know, but I haven't wrapped my head around completely. Like I'm like, okay, yes, that is true, I guess. I just don't understand how completely yet. I need more time. But
Right.
asexuality is a spectrum going from just people feeling things normally. So which the term is allosexual, I think. So those people, and they just completely, I think the term is black stripe ace, where you're just like know nothing never. And it's a thing of like part of this bickering is literally just because asexuality um has become so inclusive that the two opposites on the spectrum find it hard to live together, and there is no fix to this. Like, there's not that I can see anyway, but it's a thing that's happening.
Oh, wow.
Like, I have nothing against it, with this whole spectrum being that big or whatever. It gets confusing a lot, but whatever. That's kind of just a side effect. But I wish
Yeah.
the bickering subsided, and that's just wishful thinking. And like with furries, the thing with furries is that, like, I've been or in November 6th, and this is like, I have no fucking memory for dates whatsoever. I barely know. In fact, I barely know my own birthday. I know yours just in relation to mine, and I know W's, but I have to check every year just to make sure. But like, aside from those, I have the worst time with dates. Like, I legitimately would have been a straight A student in history if I knew dates. Didn't. Or not even A plus, I think, but yeah, because I was an A student anyway. Uh, but yeah, so but I still remember that the day I fucking it came out to all of us, I guess, is a way to put it. It was November 6th. And I will have to confirm this just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it was November 6th. So yeah, come this November 6th, it will have been 2 years since I've been publicly a furry.
Mm.
I am still no closer to figuring out what the fuck that means. like, like the problem with the furry fandom is, whenever you see people like whenever you see people treating it like how do I put this? Because this is a thing that I've complained about a lot. The right way to put this, because people refer to what other people are doing was acting like it's an identity, and I mean that's dumb, because anything can be an identity. Being a mechanic can be an identity. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like, that doesn't mean that's a good identity to have. Like, you should have layers like an ogre
Yeah,
to be an interesting
precisely.
to have an interesting personality. But still, like, that doesn't mean that those people don't have an identity. It's just one sided. But yeah, like, when people bring up talking about using the words coming out and shit like that, uh people usually say, it's not something as serious as sexuality or a gender or fucking, I wanted to say race, but that you don't fucking decide that shit. I don't
I
know.
would like to publicly come out as a Hispanic.
Yeah,
It's been a long mental journey for me to discover, but I think I'm comfortable with it now. Yes.
like, I even use the
That'd be
wrong word
funny.
because you don't decide fucking you don't decide gender identity or fucking or sexuality either. But like, the thing is,
Yeah.
the thing that sets the two apart is that you can see if someone's this
Yep.
this race or that race usually.
Yep. That yeah.
there are some cases where it's not that's not true, but like that doesn't really warrant people being like doesn't warrant people seriously being like, hey, I'm Asian or
Yeah,
whatever.
for the most part, ethnicities are genetic and sexuality is not.
Yeah,
That's where the big difference lies.
and like I can agree with it not being as serious, but at the same time, like the big defense people bring up is that it's a hobby, and I have yet to see anyone define how it is a hobby. Like it's like there is furry art, or like that's the thing. Like most furry stuff that I see it's not in itself a hobby. It's an aesthetic choice or an offshoot of something else. Furry art is just art, straight up. Like
Yeah.
it's just taking up on different elements of art, but like it's there's only so much difference between drawing Batman and drawing a Batman. Like you need to learn how to draw Bex anyway. Hey, soon.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Not much. How's it going with you guys?
Going all right.
We're still in the middle of the podcast.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
because
not a
then
problem.
it got delayed and shit.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking that was going to be yesterday, and then I saw you guys never ended up starting it.
Yeah,
So I
because
figured it was going to be delayed to today.
Pink was preoccupied and Navya slept.
Ah, yeah,
As he is
that made
today.
sense. I was just joining because I think we were going to do our mellow at
Yeah.
noon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, after this is done, we'll switch over to our mellow.
All right, sweet. Sounds good.
So yeah, I guess soon. What did you do this week? And then I can continue if I remember.
No, go for it. I'll hit my points after.
All right. You joined at the wrong time soon.
Sorry, I just saw that it was almost noon
No,
and that you guys were both in here.
I'm not saying that. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying you joined at the wrong time for you. It's a bad topic.
Uh, what's the topic?
But I was because I pretty much I agreed with W to bring up some of the topics to bring up various topics so we can pad out time until he shows up, assuming he would. But I was doing that because there was a thing I wanted to hit with him here. Well, two things. But yeah, I'm gonna have to hit them anyway once we get there. So the topic right now is it's nearly 2 years 2 years that I've been a furry, and I'm still no closer to understanding what the fuck that's supposed to mean. And I was relaying to Pink how the things that you could argue make it up as a hobby are not really its own hobby as a separate thing, but rather offshoots of other hobbies, and it's just an aesthetic choice slapped on top of it. Exactly.
I see.
So, but like yeah, so furry art is just normal art, but you're more likely to draw fucking animal people, I guess. Fursuiting is just cosplay. Like making fursuits is just making cosplay, and fursuiting is literally just cosplay. And what else is there? Yif, I guess. That's just hentai. Like, what, straight up?
Yeah, I don't really know a ton about furry culture other than the fursuits and obviously the artistic community. Uh, yeah, that's about all I know about it. So
I mean, that's the thing. I've been I've been following furry culture closer than most people that are not part of the community, and I still haven't understood. I still don't understand what's supposed to be the hobby part. Which I bring that up so much because usually when people argue like usually the big argument is that it's just a hobby, and I have yet to see anyone define how it's a hobby.
yeah, my understanding was that it was always primarily like sexual thing.
No,
It's kind of like the
it's
or an
yeah.
identity slash sexual thing. For some people, it is definitely a sexual thing.
Oh
For other
yeah,
people, I guess it's more of an identity thing. Um, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
not
So
really
that
sure how it would be a hobby so much as an identity
now that's the thing. Like
that you relate to.
well, I'm gonna bring up two things. So during my time with in the furry fandom, I've seen that there seems to be a Venn diagram of three groups of people, and as is with Venn diagrams, people mix. Some people fit into multiple parts of this. But there's three major groups that I can identify. There are the hobbyists who are legitimately only there because they like the aesthetic. They have the easier time quitting, or the easiest time quitting.
Right.
There's the fetishists who are into the porn. It's a kink.
Yeah.
And there are the people who are like me who for whatever reason end up using it as a coping mechanism or an identity or whatever the fuck. And uh the reason I'm bringing this up, bringing the hobby thing up, is that whenever someone from Group C, uh, usually they tend to be you, posts stuff on the furry Reddits that I follow, all of the or like most of the comments are usually just like, oh, it's just a hobby, and like, okay, fine, I'll go along with that. Please define how.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it doesn't really seem so much like a hobby to me.
and also
I
like,
mean, it's kind of
yeah,
like saying that people who are in the BDSM community do it as a hobby, and I guess that's technically true in a sense. I mean, there are some people who do BDSM even outside of the sexual stuff, like some pony girls will adopt it as a lifestyle. Uh, and it becomes more of an identity to them. And I think that's the best comparison to draw because most people are going to see it as a sexual thing, but
yeah,
in some cases it is just purely an identity situation where they find so much identity in that aspect of the community that they just adopt it as part of their lifestyle.
yeah. What one other thing to point out here, I guess, is that like, the argument that I'm going against is really like, it's not really even the things that are in the argument as much as the wording of it, because I think the wording is heavily flawed. Because the thing people usually propose is, oh, it's not an identity, it's a hobby, or it's just a hobby, and that's not how identity works. As I pointed
Yeah,
out to Pink before, is that like, being a mechanic can be an identity because that's not your sexuality or whatever. And being a furry is not your sexuality. Like, that's true. It's a fetish at most. But you know, there's a difference between claiming that my sexuality is being a furry and say that being a furry is a part of my identity.
right.
Or that like, I've seen some people jokingly say that their gender is being a furry, and like, that's that's a thing, I guess. But yeah,
I mean,
anyway,
it's not
yeah.
too different from, like having a gender identity crisis.
I mean, considering that the reason I'm here where I am right now is because of body dysmorphia. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it's the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Is it that both of them relate to body dysmorphia? Uh, yeah,
Like, the main thing separating me from trans people is that for one, gender dysphoria is fucking worse somehow, and I don't want to know. Like, all of my sympathies go out to trans people, especially without those without fucking like medical help, because shit, this shit sucks, and I assume that shit's worse. But
I honestly would think that it's about the same. I think all forms of body dysmorphia can be just about as extreme as one another, uh, and they can all lead to pretty destructive patterns. Uh, So, and yeah, I don't think that one is more extreme than the other just by nature of what it entails, but just how much it affects you, I guess.
yeah,
Like, because people with body dysmorphia, like, they can go into anorexic, you know, issues or binge eating issues, like gorging themselves and getting in like the feeder communities and stuff. And so all of them have like their extreme uh, end results if you end up being affected too much by it and don't get enough therapeutic help.
Yeah. And what was I going to bring up with this? I forget. Oh yeah. But the big difference between my psychosis and fucking, or like, I don't even know what to call this, because it's a coping mechanism, I guess that's the best way to put it. Yeah. But like,
Yeah,
it's like the big difference is that I can go to a doctor and just ask him to turn me into a wolf, or like an a wolf, and that's in a way worse and better, because that means that, hey, if I can actually afford therapy in like 20 years, then I may not have to pay as many bills and possibly make a mistake that I can't reverse. But also, it would be fucking faster. uh, there's also something interesting. Oh yeah, I guess following on this idea, I also like the whole thing of going, it's just a hobby and shit like that. And then I also saw a post where someone, like, it was a joke post, and someone said that furries say they don't want to turn into animals, and then also another picture of person, like, people cutting out a person, and furries, when I say I can turn them into their persona, and then people were uh being pedantic, going like, oh, well, we don't want to turn into real animals, we want to turn into anthropomorphic animals, which, I mean, fair, because that's also my thing. But here's the thing: most normal people don't make a difference. I know this because I had to explain to my sister how I don't want to fuck animals.
right.
I'm gonna step out for just a
All
moment
right.
to take care of Bowie, but I'll be right back.
Okay.
So yeah, like, that's like, it may just be a thing of I'm forgetting if and I don't know if you watch the same people I do, or at least get the same information that I do, but I forget who it was exactly, but there was a video essayist that recently talked about like tunneling, or whatever it was called, where you just stick with an idea or like a subject for long enough that you lose track of what's actually in front of you, and instead talk about, or like, instead evaluate the idealized version of whatever's in front of you.
Yeah, that definitely can happen for sure.
Yeah, it
Do
feels
you
like
think
that.
that's what's
Yeah.
happening with you?
Oh no, I'm saying that freaking that interaction of, making the splitting the difference of we don't have to turn into normal animals, is kind of that on a community wide thing.
Right. Yeah, and I think that is because the more like extreme uh, proponents of the that community do tend to take it towards a more fetishistic route, and so
Yeah.
and then naturally people are going to see like anthropomorphized uh, animals and assume that there's some bestial uh, roots to it, you know.
Yeah, and I mean,
Uh,
like, to be fair, like, the early internet, or I don't even know what to call it, the early rise to infamy of furries didn't help. And I'm seeing this because, like, technically furries rose to infamy around like the late 2000s, early 2010s. We've been around since like 1930, but you know,
yeah, I didn't know that it rooted back that far.
I mean, the organized furry community roots back that far. It was earlier, probably. Like, there was someone found a fursuit from the Victorian era, so that's great. Like, we have pictures of a guy in a dog costume whose entire shtick was that he'd go around towns and just fucking he just go around fursuiting, and people would pay him because it looked funny. Like, this was the Victorian era. That's fucking wild. But anyway,
Yeah,
so yeah, the organized side of the, or whatever, the actual, like, shared furry fandom thing started in the 1930s as a rich boys club where people would share YIF, which, yeah, YIF is furry porn, and yeah, and that's how the furry community started. And yeah, uh, I was going to loop something in here, but I forget what. Oh yeah, you were worried about me getting lost with the thing, with the whole idealized thing. I tried to be on top of it. Like, I won't be seeing a therapist anytime soon just because we don't have a budget for that shit.
Right, right.
I wish I could though, but but yeah, I try to keep on top of it. So it's enough that the things that got me here don't take top, but also I'm not lost enough to actually develop delusions and shit. I'm trying. I'm playing a dangerous game,
Right, right.
but
Yeah, I do know that if you do end up giving too much into your body dysmorphia, that it does end up becoming very extreme. Uh, like, I mean, even sometimes milder forms of it can be pretty devastating. But as I'm sure you're aware, but if you do embrace it too much, that tends to only make things even worse.
yeah,
You know, because you'll never be able to realize your perfect ideal when it comes to your body dysmorphia, and it just keeps going towards a more extreme level. Uh,
yeah, I know, and that's why I'm trying to make it so uh like I let things go somewhat, or how should I put this? Like I make plans to work on things to a realistic amount, keeping in mind that I can never reach the thing that I want. Which, like, the furry thing actually helps with this, because good fucking luck turning into a wolf.
right.
Like,
I mean, I think something that might help is just like giving yourself positive reaffirmation in who you are without that like idea in your head, like just looking at yourself as you are and giving yourself positive reaffirmation in who you are as a person rather than your idealized dysmorphic you know like goal, I guess.
well,
uh
here's the problem with that soon. Like,
mhm,
depending on how you ask me to define what my problem is with myself, like,
mhm.
depending on how you ask me to define what my problem is with this skin vessel that I am currently residing in, I can probably list you a long list. But honestly, I usually just go with the shortcut, because the thing is that, like, if I had to list it, then it would be everything. But that's because, like, if I saw this body coming across me on the street, I would just go, okay, that's a guy.
Right.
But when I look into the mirror, it's not me.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, that's how body dysmorphia works. And what I'm saying is you should try to just even just giving yourself some like daily routines of looking in the mirror at yourself and just giving yourself positive
that doesn't
reaffirmation
help.
like this is me. It does work after a while because as you're giving yourself this like these so much of this affirmation, it does end up building you a new identity.
No,
uh
soon. Here's the thing.
mhm,
I've been through that. I've been dealing with this shit since I've been little. I've spent so much time looking into the mirror, just trying to be like, okay, that's how things are. But it doesn't work, not for me. Like, I would need to actually see someone professional, probably, to fucking talk around how it's supposed to work and why. But, like, just trying to reaffirm myself doesn't work because uh but I'm a liar, for one. But
well, that's the thing though. If you're uh if you're taking if you just have those moments where you're reaffirming yourself and then you go off outside of that and start bringing yourself down, like you feed into these thoughts that that's not you, that clearly that's not you, you're a bad person, you're a liar, and you're just lying to yourself, you're going to feed more into the idea, your body dysmorphia. You're giving yourself reaffirmation of the incorrect ideas, which is completely devaluing the positive reaffirmations you're giving yourself.
well, yeah, but that you like that you weren't here for most of those podcasts. and it's been a while, and I don't like bringing this up because it's weird, and I don't know how to fix it properly. But with how like you know how every person has a like separate the conscious part of the brain that you know it works and whatever because it's you, and you have the subconscious part of the brain.
Yep, I'm aware. Something that you might want to try is called mindfulness. Mindfulness deals a lot with dealing with those subconscious thoughts and recognizing that they're there, and then dealing with whether they're true or not. Like you just sit there, meditate, let your thoughts run, and then you analyze your thoughts to see whether they're actually true or not, and then you just reaffirm whether or not they are, so that your thoughts don't control you as much and you recognize that they don't have as much power over you. You might want to look into mindfulness. I found
I
that
do
it's
that
been pretty
already.
helpful for me. Oh, okay, you
I
do.
do it every night. Like I didn't know it had a
Ah,
name, but usually when I'm alone, uh,
mhm.
because I low key fucking might have autism. I just have to move constantly. So while I'm moving, I'm just walking around the house doing fucking movement with my hands and shit. And while I'm doing that, I'm just like I'm pretending we're on the podcast, and I just go all out with fucking going back and forth myself pretty much. Going with
Yeah,
okay,
so
yeah,
something you might want to try is there's a lot of like YouTube videos uh that are guided meditations that'll, and you can probably find something specific to body dysmorphia meditation where someone will guide you through the techniques and thought processes you need to go through. And I think that's usually what I would have to do when I engage in mindfulness, is just using a guided meditation, uh, because there are professionals who are versed in dealing with these issues and finding a way around them through your thought processes.
yeah. Well, another thing I guess with this whole thing is that weirdly enough, with the amount of control that I seem to be having over all of these problems, it's gotten better.
Good,
Like it,
good. Glad to hear it.
like that's the why I'm fine with this whole. Like, that's partially why I went full in with the furry thing because like I once again I tried to keep my hand very well on the trigger on when to shut that shit off, and weirdly enough, like I had some weird ass outbursts when I was still very how do I put this without I don't think I can put this without sounding strange. But the conscious part of my brain was trying to accept the whole furry business, while the subconscious part of my brain didn't really, or I don't know,
What do
like
you
the
mean?
or the I there was a lot of time, couple of months where my head was constantly in like full on headache white noise mode. There was a we did a recording with the guys that's on the YouTube where like it legitimately sounds like I hadn't slept in 3 days or something like that because I'm just not there for most of that recording, even though I'm the one controlling the game. And
Right.
that was big because all of the things that I've internalized during the years of being a furry is bad because it's only a fetish and shit like that. And then the more I look into the community, it was like, well, yes, there is that part of it, but also there's like 2/3 of the rest of the community that may not also do that shit. Like the bad parts exists, yes, but there's good parts to it too. And just getting over it and getting myself to accept that, even though I was trying my best to accept it consciously, was fucking a headache. And there were these outbursts where it's not like not angry outbursts. It was just like it was weird other kill shit. Is the best way I can put it. And the second I was like, okay, whatever, fuck it, I'm going all in. They stopped, and that's I don't know why, but hey, uh,
Gotcha.
which like, hey, do you know what otherkin is?
What was that?
What otherkin?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
All
kind of
right, yeah.
familiar with what other kins are. Yeah.
But yeah, and where was I going with all of this shit? uh, like because I try to keep a handle on how how much I let into the very stuff and stuff like that. Like there's this weird reassurance where I'm like, okay, like it also depends because like with this dysmorphia never really goes away. It just gets better. Like you get sort of, for one, sort of used to it, and then two, it just when it acts up becomes infrequent. The more you get better.
Right.
And here's a thing of like when I'm when I'm not having an episode or whatever the fuck, like when it's not acting up, I can look into the mirror now and actually go, okay, fine. Like okay, it depends. When I'm having a really good day, I can look into the mirror and go, okay, fine, that's me, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
Usually when I look into the mirror, uh, I can only do it for a limited amount of time before it creeps back up, which is a problem. But hey, it'll get better
Mm.
eventually. And then there are bad days when I just feel disconnected from myself, and those are the bad days.
Yeah, it sounds like it probably is tied to like your self-esteem and uh most likely depression as well. I know that typically in cases of body dysmorphia, it does tend to be cases where someone has low self-esteem of themselves, and that generally tends to be the root cause. And so it's pretty much a coping mechanism for the low self-esteem, kind of an externalization of it, you know?
Yeah,
Like trying to find a reason for that low self-esteem and attributing it to something that might not necessarily pertain to it, you know?
yeah, and so like it's like I also started this whole thing, going with like I still have a plan, and I made this at the start to improve my body just a bit, so I won't be fucking overweight for all of my life, but I had a reason. Had to get a reason for that because
Yeah.
before this, I was and then people would always be like I don't know how it is over there, but over here the fitness instructors on TV and stuff like that would often come off as kind of militaristic and stuff like that. So I would pretty much just be like, no, fuck you, I'm fat, just to spite them, because I'm a spiteful asshole. That's kind of just my
Right.
life. Like I finished fucking grade school in a place where I was bullied by the teachers just to spite them. I don't. Oh yeah, I remember the principal. There was a different principal when I started that school. But the principal by the end really hated me. So when she came up to shake my hand on graduation, she was frowning. That was great. It was worth the suffering. But yeah, uh, so yeah, basically, I'm getting better with time. Like I'm trying to force myself into things to build self esteem and trying to also make it so fucking living in this dilapidated ass body isn't as bad. Which I mean, like it's not gonna get much better because my knee's dislocated still. So or my knee dislocates still. So that's probably only gonna get worse. That knee. But hey, and the other thing that I wanted to bring up with W here, but whatever, is that after a lot of questioning and shit, all signs seem to point to me probably being a fucking homoromantic asexual, and that was a thing to process this week.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, soon. Are you aware of the split expression model?
No, I don't think I am.
It's a thing that was made mostly for the asexuals, but it's not a thing that only asexuals can use. It's basically just a thing of if you're capable of, try to well, there's definitions, but there's no concrete definitions, which is why the attraction models really needs definitions. But basically, it's trying to think about attraction as four separate things, rather than just as one of I want to fuck that person.
So
It's
it's like the romantic side of attraction versus the sexual side of attraction.
yeah, that's two.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
two. That's two of them. There's also aesthetic attraction and sensual attraction, where like I don't get. I get it, but I don't get it. The difference between sexual and sensual. Like the thing is, that you don't want penetration, you just want cuddles. But like, I don't feel either of those things. So it's kind of just like fucking news to me that those feelings exist.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, being in a relationship, I can definitely see that being an aspect of attraction for sure.
But yeah, so it's sexual, romantic, sensual, and aesthetic, and uh, being asexual, it's fucking hard to decide which one you're feeling because you don't know. Like, uh, and then also just because asexuality is a spectrum, it's also hard to decide because there are people who can get or rather, there are people who feel sexual attraction as well, further muddying things.
Gotcha.
And
And so what exactly is romantic? Is that like same gender romantic feelings?
yeah, I'm more I seem to be more likely to feel romantic attraction or whatever that may or how do I put this? Because it's not necessarily romantic. Fuck, how do I put this? I am more likely to be or more likely to want to be or fantasize about a same gender romantic relationship. There we go. I got it in the end.
Okay. Gotcha.
And yeah, and then I don't like being in the closet. Like I think it's like, I don't like half measures, which is why my existence is suffering because fucking sometimes it feels like being ace is nothing but half measures. But that's why whenever like stuff like this has come out, I try to be open about it because like honestly I don't care. Like it's not like I can fucking change this. I can realize that I'm wrong about it, but I can't really change it.
I gotcha.
And so it's because of this, I told my mom, and I have not seen someone go through that many layers of coping that fast.
Yeah, I can imagine with especially your culture that that might have been tricky to get around. I hope she didn't react too harshly.
No, I mean like my family switches between being accepting and really not. And
Right.
it's also a thing of like I know I can't come out to my dad, not because of how he's, or rather, well, I guess it's partially because of how he react, but not really because he react particularly negatively. It's just because I literally have told him to his eyes before that I am gay, and he's just like, just stop fucking joking around, and then leaves. Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hattie. Uh,
no,
yeah,
like
that's
that's the
unfortunate.
no, like that's the thing. Like everything I've joked about throughout the years of being, I seem to be actually, and that's fucking hilarious. Like it genuinely has been a running gag in my family for I don't know how many years that I am gay, and I sort of am, maybe. Like it's tricky because like this, I guess it doesn't like like it's hard to navigate this shit as well because how do I put things, like for me specifically it's hard to navigate this stuff as well because all of those versions of attractions that I just listed out,
Hmm.
there's like a very
Yeah.
specific subset of people that I feel that towards, and no one else. And I have yet to feel that way towards anyone actually existing. So that just complicates things further, you know.
Isn't there like a concept of just being attracted
Yeah,
to like fictional
fictosexual.
characters?
Yeah,
Yeah,
fictosexuality.
fictosexual.
But like
I
it's
wonder if that may be attributed to more so just being isolated and being inundated with, fictional characters versus more so than building relationships with real people. Do you think that you might be feeling like you're building relationships with these fictional characters, whereas that might be lacking in your real life?
I don't think so. Like I mean, I'm certain that like maybe 10 out of 10 psychologists would argue that I'm lacking it in real life, but I'm not. I don't feel like I'm building relationships with these characters. Like not any more than like the character I've built the most relationship with is Akuma, and I don't feel that way towards Akuma either because I just think Akuma is really fucking cool and like his lore, like a normal
Hmm.
person, you know.
Okay. So what's your attraction to him based around then?
To Akuma.
Yeah.
Uh, that's pretty much it. I used to play Ryu, in Street Fighter 2, and Akuma has most of the same move set but more moves. Also looks cooler to me because he has a color scheme that I really like, which is black and red. You'll be surprised to find out that I like black and red as a color scheme.
Right.
Uh, and he was also the villain of Street Fighter 2, or one of them, I guess. He was a secret boss, and it was also villainous in Street Fighter Alpha. Which is another thing that I tend to like in characters. Just as characters. Because for whatever reason I am I just tend to like villains more. I think like I guess it's a part of the thing is like villains are usually allowed to ham it up more, and I enjoy the ham.
Right.
But like I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that I'm in any serious way attracted to Akuma. I like Akuma as a character. Like if Akuma is forever my fighting game main, but I wouldn't wanna fuck him or be in a relationship with Akuma.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not so much an attraction thing as it is just that you like the character.
Yeah,
Okay. So what were examples of characters that you are attracted to then?
no cap, that's a bro.
Danzaburo.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's
I
like
guess that kind of makes sense.
yeah, that's this fucking weirdest thing. Like I guess like I don't want to I don't want didn't want to go into the specifics too much because whatever, who cares? All you need to know about my sexual life is that I don't want to fuck you very much, but
I'm
but
offended.
look, Pink, we
Yeah,
can
why
work it
wouldn't
out.
you want to why wouldn't you want
Look, Pink, we can work it out. We just buy you a mersuit, and then we're golden. But like legitimately, there's this weirdest thing in my brain where I usually only feel any sort like even aesthetic attraction towards canids or dragons. Don't ask about why dragons. I don't know either. Like canids, it makes sense because my brain's weird as fucking psychosis is like, hey, you want to be a fucking anthropomorphic wolf, so obviously you like anthropomorphic things that belong to the same evolutionary line, you know? Like that sort of makes sense. Dragons, no clue. Anyway, so yeah, I think Danzaburo has a nice smile, and that's pretty much it. That's the only thing that I find even aesthetically attractive in him. And yeah, that's pretty much it with him. The other guy, which you'll notice, it's only guys. But the other guy is a character who I only like because their writing is good, and they're a romantic game. So that's pretty much it. They're a romantic game where the writing is good, and that's it. I could bring up the name, but for one, I actually forgot which character it is because there's two very similar named characters, and also you wouldn't know them anyway. So who cares? Uh, and there was something I was going to bring up, but I forget what, which is good for the topics. Ah, shit. Can I remember real quick? Can y'all talk just to do it fucking like whatever chatter so that there's no Dead Space. So EA cancels the Dead Space remake. We need to cancel the Dead
Yes.
Space remake.
Yes. While we're chattering about, I will open up my OBS and then get Armello opened up as well and set all that
I'll
stuff
also
up for later.
do that on the side.
Good deal.
Shit.
Good deal. Use auto HDR? Why not?
Oh yeah, I remembered. I think. Wait, no, I remembered and I forgot again. What the fuck? Someone sent help. My memory is shot.
Shakira had problems remembering to forget. You have problems forgetting to remember.
Yeah.
Or something. Properties. Well, I just clicked the wrong thing. No, wait, I clicked the right thing. I thought I went down too far. Specific windows?
Oh yeah, there we go. I found it again. So the whole thing the whole reason that leads me to believe that I may be or probably am fucking gays is just because I pointed out like most of the characters that I can bring up as having felt any sort of a proper attraction to tend to be men, you know,
Mhm.
and or like if I feel even aesthetic attraction towards a female character, they tend to not have like any standout features. Basically, it is. I'm fine with women being planks because they look like men, and that's like a very roundabout way of saying I'm gay.
Yeah.
That's basically my thought process. And the thing is, like, usually when people go through stuff like this, they're not also asexual, which means that they just feel things and it's easier to figure out. But I have pretty much nothing to go on but logic and deduction from
Mhm.
whatever small amounts of experience I have.
So what's the what makes you think that you're homo romantic as opposed to like homo aesthetic? Is that the way to describe it?
I guess. Well, that one that part specifically is up in the air just because uh the only time I've fantasized about being in a relationship was Danzaburo. At the
Okay,
same time, that was once.
gotcha.
That's a very small amount of fucking point like it's a very small pool of information to go from. So
Right. But you said that your attraction to him was purely based on his aesthetic smile, right?
yeah, no,
Okay.
it doesn't make sense to me either. Like shit's weird. Well, what's even weirder is that the way this whole thing first showed to me was I just randomly got a fucking uh I want to call it an invasive thought, but that's not the right word to use for it. I forgot the proper word. Shit, an intrusive thought. There we go. I had an
Mhm.
intrusive thought that while waiting uh for the card screen to load, while loading into a match. Like we were still on the model screen, and I could spin Desibro around and shit, and I just looked at his fucking I looked at his smile, and I just got an intrusive thought immediately that was just you'd hit that. And you know what? Fuck it, I would. But that was fucking weird. And trying to make sense of all of this shit while also while also the only times I'm feeling any sort of extraction being very few and far in between is kind of hard just because it's a very small like it leads to a very small pool of information to work from. And people like when I see people discuss similar stuff, it's just, oh, you feel this or you feel that. I have never felt the things they say usually. So So yeah. Anyway, now that we're done with that, soon your week.
Yeah, my week was spent playing mostly multiverses. Uh, yeah, I ended up getting into the early access just because I was really excited to play it, and it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed basically every character that I've played. Uh,
Nice.
I've already found my main, which is Iron Giant. He's really fun to play. Uh,
Nice.
very unique character. It has one bugged move, which I usually try to avoid because it can sometimes just straight up be an instant kill. So because of how it functions, it's a multi-hit move, and sometimes the multi-hit does not end.
Mm.
And so yeah, I try to avoid that move.
Does he?
But
Wait. Does he turn into active frame guard from Final Fight? Not Final Fight.
I have no idea what that is. But basically, it's Hulk's Gamma Crush move from
Ah, yeah. So
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
The
So
thing
it's just a
the
big
thing I'm
comet
referring
that
to.
does
Yeah.
multiple hits, but sometimes the comet just doesn't end because he never makes contact with the ground because
Nice.
the enemy is situated between him and the ground. And so it just ends up going on for almost forever until like they're catapulted out at like 200 damage.
Yeah. The thing I was referring to was Pink. What's the Western name of bare knuckle?
What is the what name of bare knuckle?
Western.
Western.
It gave me through Dr. Zan and Axel.
It's Streets of Rage.
Yeah, Streets of Rage. There we go. It's fucking weird how I remember the Japanese name, but not the localized one. But anyway, so yeah, Streets of Rage. In Streets of Rage, there's a character with a knife who people have lovingly named Active Frame God because his whole gimmick is that he walks through the screen, and if you touch him at any point, you die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like he's not common enemy type, and everyone hates him because he's very hard to hit because it feels like his whole body is made of knives, and if you hit him, you get hit. Usually.
Huh. I see. That's more like Shaggy, honestly, in multiverses. Shaggy has some bullshit hitboxes.
Ah,
They take priority over like almost every other move in the game.
nice. I mean, look,
It's Shaggy.
he
It
he's
had
Yeah,
to be that way.
he's using 0.7% of his power.
but yeah. So I've managed to try the 5 free characters, or their free rotation characters. There'll be different characters in the free rotation by the time it officially launches this Wednesday when you guys get to play.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I've tried Taz, I've tried Shaggy, I've tried Harley Quinn, I've tried Jake, and I've tried Wonder Woman. Oh, and I've tried Tom and Jerry and Iron Giant, obviously. And I think my favorite characters so far are Iron Giant and Tom and Jerry. Although Tom and Jerry, I like them, but I'm really shit with them because
Yeah, that
there's a
happens.
lot of like setup and projectile gameplay, and it's very difficult to play them.
So
I don't
yes,
have the
it's
brain capacity for
the
that,
so
honestly.
what you're saying is Tom and Jerry are set play characters.
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
don't actually know if it's actually if it's if it's completely right because the closest from your description, the closest comparison I could draw is Venom from Guilty Gear, and Venom is a set play character. But what makes him a set play character is that he can put the balls on the screen and then he can just shoot them at any time.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry can kind of do that as well.
Okay,
So
then yeah,
the
they're a
way
set
that
play
it works
character.
is he shoots out Jerry as a projectile, and then Jerry stands stationary. And then once you use that same move, Jerry will throw up balls, and you're supposed to hit those balls, and then they become like missiles.
Ah, I see.
And he can also like the balls will sometimes just land around the arena, and then you can hit them while they're just laying there on the ground too. Yeah, it's a lot. And then you also have like a unique move where you tie Jerry to a rocket, and then you can just manually remote control the rocket to like aim it at people, which is kind of cool. But if like Jerry is say if you shot Jerry and he's standing there stationary and you shoot the rocket, then the rocket will like go to wherever Jerry's current position is. Uh, or if you just don't have Jerry, then your rocket just shoots up a little bit and it's a lot less powerful. But yeah, there's a lot of unique mechanics with Tom and Jerry.
Nice.
And then their entire moveset is hilarious because the entire time, every single animation is Tom trying to hit Jerry, and then the enemies just get in the way.
Yeah.
Which is unique and cool.
I wonder
But
if there will be any characters that fit my playstyle, because like I don't usually play platform fighters or like them for that matter, but
yeah,
I did put a lot of time into TMNT Smash Up, which I don't remember how that game plays at all, and also Digimon Rumble Arena, the first one, and I remember how that one plays. Let me tell you, because fucking the Reptar from Nick All-Star Brawl or whatever plays very similarly to Agumon from Battle Arena, and I had three mains in that game: Renamon for obvious reasons, Agumon and Gilmon. Probably for obvious reasons, those two. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm not really familiar with any of those characters,
But let me get pictures for you, I guess.
okay. But like, what exactly is the moveset style that you like, I guess, or gameplay style?
Well, Reptar and Agumon focus a lot on but they focus mostly on zoning with a projectile that goes forward infinitely pretty much, but also their like close range moveset is mostly dependent on tail, which like that usually works for me, because like that works for me in both of those games because they pretty much handled the same, but that's a very vague description, I know. And then otherwise, I don't really know what I would enjoy in platform fighters, because Renamon was kind of similar from what I remember, but I remember less of Renamon. But yeah, anyway, and Gilmon was pretty much the same as Agumon, just like he looked more like Charizard, so I liked him better.
Right.
So yeah,
I don't know. Maybe you would like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, I like Bugs as a character, so hey.
Yeah, his moveset is it's also very unique, like Tom and Jerry's is.
I'll put the pictures into into the pictures tab.
Let's see.
So that's Agumon, the one I posted just now.
Okay.
This is Gilmon, and these two guys are on two separate evolutionary lines, by the way. Like they're not related at all.
I see.
And this is Renamon.
Maybe they'll end up adding the Raptors from Jurassic Park. Technically, that is a Warner Bros. Property.
And this is Renamon.
Awesome.
And if there's anything you're gonna add from Jurassic Park, it's gonna be the Raptors.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
I have safe search turned on Google. I search up Renamon, and one of the first pictures. Well, actually, that's a fucking lot of YIF for safe search. What the fuck? But also, there's like immediately. Well, okay, that's. Well, I guess I don't. Okay, so there's immediately Big Titty Renamon from Alibaba.com. And the fucking like some sort of porn poster on eBay.
Perfect time for Alex to pop in.
What'd you call
hey,
me?
W. So we're talking about multiverses with soon. And I say hey, the fucking platform fighter I remember the most is Digimon Rumble Arena. I listed the characters I used to play for soon, and he knows I don't know any of them. So I'm like, okay, I'll get pictures. I look up Renamon, and I know Renamon is fucking is Lucario for Digimon. I know, but I didn't expect to find fucking Yif with safe search turned on. That was a surprise.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So anyway, yeah, soon, fucking multiverses.
Yeah, I mean it's been fun. I got to play a little bit with Alex the other day. Actually, he got to play Superman, and he was kicking ass. Honestly,
I was doing pretty all right, but it took me a good long.
He picked up Superman pretty quick. Honestly, he's being humble.
It took me a good while. He's got a bit of a weird moveset. I definitely really like him. I specifically do like his moveset is very pro dunking, which is not something I ordinarily do in Smash. I'm ordinarily kind of a pussy in Smash.
Yeah.
And one thing I specifically said at the time was, this is going to teach me to dunk when I know I can't dunk with any other characters, so I'm just going to fail in the process.
Well, speaking of dunking, I know it's not the right basketball player, but if LeBron doesn't have a chaos dunk, I'm gonna be really fucking disappointed.
He does have a few dunk maneuvers, yeah.
But does he have a nuke? That's a dunk. Like it's not. I don't want an actual dunk move. I want a move that is the animation of him dunking, and he just sets up like he throws down a nuke. He has a chaos dunk.
Soon in Pink, Addy is making a reference to a goofy fan-made RPG where Michael Jordan dunks a basketball so hard he destroys much of the world and causes basketball to be banned.
Okay, that's pretty obscure.
Yeah,
But,
shut up and Jim Gaiden.
But I mean, he has a his spike move is obviously a dunk.
Yeah.
So, but he actually looks really cool. He has some. I watched an interview about his moveset style, and it all revolves around like throwing the ball, bouncing it off of enemies. And apparently, they implemented a pass mechanic where you can pass your basketball to your teammate, and the teammate can pass the ball back to you, which is very weird and cool.
Yeah.
But did they get the NBA Jam announcer whenever you do a good pass?
That would be great, but I don't think so.
No, they got someone to voice LeBron. It wasn't actually LeBron that they got in because LeBron sucks as a voice actor. So they got a voice actor to come in to play LeBron, and the voice actor did his best to make the worst LeBron impression he could. Like, he sounds a lot like LeBron in the worst ways.
Wait, this got me thinking. Soon, don't they have the elimination animations that you can change out?
Yeah, you can change out the ring out animations. So far in the early access, I think there's only a handful of ring outs. There's like a unicorn ring out. There's an Omega Beam ring out, which is pretty cool. I think that's about it, actually. Other than the generic.
Yeah, I'm bringing this up because in theory, they could make a ring out that I guess doesn't look any different than the default one. But instead, whenever you ring out someone, it just shouts boom shakalaka.
One of the ones that I did see and I really like that I need to get to unlocking is when you ring out someone, it'll play the animation from Looney Tunes. So that's all, folks.
Ah, nice.
That's nice. I might have to try to get that one too. And I'm really excited about how fast they're going to be releasing characters because it looks like it might be on a bi-weekly basis for a while.
Yeah, I saw their release schedule or whatnot that got revealed a day or two ago. Where it's like, we got a character coming out every other week, and it's like, wow.
Yeah. And then they've also, if you do go by the bi-weekly release schedule, then that also happens to land a character on the release date for Rings of Power, which I assume is going to be Gandalf.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I played Multiverses, and then I watched a couple of movies. So I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think. Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once is what it's called. Which I talked with Dubs about this, but it's a very fun movie, but it's also very nihilistic. Very, very nihilistic. And it takes a lot of inspiration for Rick and Morty, I'm pretty sure. But it's a very fun movie, very weird, very well directed, and then yeah, it just didn't like the morals of it, but otherwise I enjoyed it. Yeah, and then after that I watched Iron Giant yesterday.
Good movie.
Great movie. I watched it because now I'm playing Iron Giant and I wanted to watch it because I haven't watched it since I was very young and I didn't remember much about it. So
Ooh.
yeah, good movie. And then after that, I watched Last Night in Soho, which is very well directed. Although as far as thrillers and murder mysteries go, I felt that the writing wasn't spectacular. Uh, but directing wise, it was done really well. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Actually,
All right.
I have one last thing that I did this week that I saved until W shows up because I felt like it's something we could discuss. So
Okay.
for the first time, I have started up Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
So it's very much a Rockstar game. Oh boy, is it a Rockstar
Ah.
game? Yeah.
Could have fooled me.
Like there have been parts I've noticed that where I prefer the first game already to the second one. Like just immediately the I forget her name, but the uh McFarlane woman that saves you from death literally at the start of the game.
Yes.
The way she talks with John is immediately miles better than anything I remember from the second game.
Yeah, Red Dead 1 has a bit more hope to it than Red Dead 2, so that's already a bit different. And John, I mean, you already put in some time with John in Red Dead 2, but John's a very different character from Arthur. He's very
Yeah.
similar, but he's also very different, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Arthur, for all his talk, it was like Arthur tried to be a better person, but it was at the same time obvious that there was no way he was ever going to be a better person as long as he stuck with the gang, and he was never going to leave the gang. John's the complete opposite, where John doesn't talk a lot about trying to be a better person, and yet by trying to provide for Jack and Abigail, he's already becoming a much better person.
Yeah. And
Proceed.
yeah, I didn't get particularly far because like it's a thing of like when there's story stuff, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm liking this game, whatever. And then the game like the mission ends and the game is like, okay, so now get on your horse and drive back to the nearest village that's half of the map on the other side. Oh, cool. And there's
You can fast travel using.
the
You can fast
carriages.
travel by camping.
Oh, that's what the game forgot to tell me. Okay, because it was like, hey, you can fast travel, and then it just fucking ceased existing. The dip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, that will make the game a lot easier to handle. Like, that and also the
This is
fact
one of
that
those.
yeah,
This is one of those funny things of like, I guess how now the games that used to be bring wonderment 10 years ago are now getting old. But I remember when Red Dead 1 came out, people were like saying, journalists and other folks were saying, don't fast travel. The world is so beautiful, you don't want to miss out on it. But I guess now the world of Red Dead 1 looks kind of plain, don't it?
I mean, it's not even just that it's plain, because it still looks fine for the most part. The problem is that my setup is not the best way to experience the game, in that my big TV is still broken and will not be fixed until like next month. So I'm watching it on my small monitor, which is far away. So I'm experiencing like the fucking 1960s equivalent of Red Dead Redemption 1 when it comes to
Oh, no.
graphics. Like you know how in the olden days they like most people would have the very small TV on the other side of the room, and that's how they enjoy television. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm playing Red Dead
Yeah.
1. And like there are still parts of the game that I can enjoy this way, and I can still read the screen for the most part, but at the same time it's not the best way to experience it, and it shows, and it also means means that I can't enjoy some things like the graphic, or like the how the world is built, is a better way to put it.
That is sad because Red Dead 1 was one of the best built games of its time in that aspect.
Yeah, I can believe it, but because even still, sometimes I'm like, yeah, like this, like I look at this and I get the feeling they were going for, and they're doing it really good.
Yeah, and unlike Red Dead 2, they don't try to force you to consume it through like Don't forget to manage your food and drink meters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That.
Mhm.
I hated Red Dead 2. For that
I'm aware.
kind of reason.
Red Dead 2 is a funny game where, like,
Not really. I
well,
had no joy in that game.
it's a funny
Oh
game.
boy, so we're getting fun soon today, huh?
But yeah, Red Dead 2 is a funny game in the sense that, like, uh, like I enjoyed my time with it when I played it, and, like, genuinely the only thing that I can really bring up against it is that the writing is fucking dog shit a lot of times, especially when Dutch or Mike are on screen. But
Especially near the end, yes.
yeah, but at the same time, like there was a lot of things, just in general gameplay that I enjoyed. Like it's kind of an inverse of what I'm experiencing with one, where in one I'm enjoying the story more just because a lot of the things that would make it easier for me to enjoy it, I was improperly or not at all told about, like the fast travel or Deadeye, which I played through. Like I'm still very much in the beginning of the game. I just did the mission. Like I don't like how I'm trying to describe where I'm in the story with missions, completely disregarding that they're not linear. But like the
Yeah, Red Dead.
yeah, go
It's
ahead.
easy to forget that, but Red Dead 1 was in that relatively earlier era when Rockstar didn't have all the missions being a very obvious chain.
Yeah,
Where there would be like stretches of the story where the mission chain kind of flowers outward.
yeah. But basically, I'm still mostly stuck to Armadillo, and then the parts around Armadillo, and haven't gone to
Yeah.
Mexico yet. If that helps at all.
Yeah.
And where was I going? Fuck. Like I'm enjoying the story much more than Oh yeah, I know what I was going to bring up. So yeah, I went through all of the parts of Red Dead 1 that I did, not knowing how to use Deadeye, so I just did it aiming normally. Which, like,
to be fair, so did I, and I knew how to use Deadeye.
But yeah, but did you also play through the game with PS Now?
That's gonna make it considerably more brutal.
Like some of the problems that I'm experiencing with the game, and I'm not attributing them to the game, but they're still an inherent part of my experience with it, or problems with streaming it.
Yeah.
And like I'm glad that I get to play the game at all. Like I'm happy to play the game at all rather than not playing it for longer, But at the same time, it would be nice to not like, it would have been nice to not have to do gunfights without Deadeye for this long.
Yeah.
Because that I would make aiming a lot easier with the delay.
Mm. Well, you'd also have to deal with how weird the So Red Dead 1 has a really weird setup with a Deadeye. One of the nicer changes from Red Dead 2 was, so in Red Dead 1, the Deadeye is, correct me if I'm wrong, just slow-mo to start with. Then it forcibly changes you to where you can't do slow-mo shots anymore. It's lining up multiple shots, which screwed up a lot of people, including myself. And then I don't even remember if Deadeye 3 finally brings it back where you can do the slow-mo shots directly. But Red Dead 2 made it where every upgrade doesn't get rid of the previous way of doing Deadeye. It just adds a new way of doing Deadeye.
Yeah, I don't know about the Deadeye levels yet. The first level is the slow-mo. But past that I don't know yet because I haven't been able to upgrade it. If things get too bad, then there's like I don't know if this was in the original release or if it's just because it's the version with all of the DLC that they put on PS Now. But there's just an entire separate tab in the pause menu that just says cheats. It's just like, hey, I want Deadeye level 3 now. And I would and I won't use it until I must, because I want to experience the game normally. Like it's not a Saints Row situation where I'm like, this game cannot be enjoyed without cheats. But
Well, you want the funny thing about Red Dead 1 and cheats?
Yeah.
There is a certain area where you can find the names of all the cheats in game.
What do you mean?
It's some. So ordinarily, a lot of those games that had cheats where you entered a code back then, like they would just be funny things the developer thought
Oh yeah,
of.
yeah.
But in Red Dead 1, the cheats are secret phrases you can consistently find in the same area, but they change over the course of the game. Do you want me to just spoil it for the hell of it?
Sure. I mean, the game has told me about it, so yeah.
So each of the cheats is taken from an in-game newspaper.
Ah,
Uh-huh. So every newspaper that you can buy from the newspaper guys, one of the headlines will usually say something relatively weird or something, what relatively weird phrase, and that's a cheat code.
I see. That's a
Yeah.
nice way to do it. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, as opposed to it just being something like, well, I guess I need to go look up the fucking game, Fox.
Yeah.
Facts, whatever.
But yeah, like once again, I have looked at the cheats. I didn't really do more than a cursory glance because I don't actually plan on using them for now. But if the stream gets so hard going that I literally can't aim, then I will probably have to turn that eye level 3 on anyway. But yeah. Otherwise, like I've mostly been enjoying the game. Although for the past, like I started at the start of the week, more or less, and then nearly immediately got COVID. So hey,
That might ruin your enjoyment of it a little bit.
yeah, like it's not even a problem of that it's. I don't know how to put it. When I'm sick or depressed, but I guess that's that's a fucking version of sick. But anyway, whenever something like this happens, I usually lose interest in whatever. And so, like, you know, it's like I'm trying to play Red Dead 1. And I'm like, hey, this is a fun part. I'm like I like how they made this part of the map or whatever. And then I played for an hour, and then I have to quit because it's just not holding my attention anymore for whatever reason. And it's a shame because I want to beat Red Dead 1. I'm having fun with it. Like,
Yeah, it's. I certainly don't blame you. There are some times where a good game comes at the wrong time. Definitely. I mean, hell, sometimes it's not even a bad time. Sometimes the game just comes at the same time as another game you want to try more, right? So they just,
yeah.
one takes priority. And then later on, it's like, well, shit, I probably should have put more time into that other game.
That's how I've been like with like half of the fighting game releases that have come out. That I was like, hey, I'll look into buying that. I still haven't. To be fair, most of those are like $40, and I can't afford to pay $40 for Persona 4 Arena or Darkstalkers yet.
Yeah.
Like eventually I will, then I'll get them, but you know, things need to stabilize first.
Yeah. Just gotta conquer Hungary first.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you get rid of, what's his face? How am I forgetting his name? If you get rid of him, people will probably be happy.
I mean, there was a
Huh?
protest last week, so hey.
Sweet.
Yeah. Probably nothing will change. So anyway, W, your week.
Let's see. I did a couple things. I played the multiverses. I assume you guys talked a great degree about it without me a little bit ago, so I won't go too far in depth. But it is a fun game. I first tried Jake. Jake was pretty cool, but he had a bit of a weird moveset, and it took a while for me to get used to him. Then I tried Superman. Superman also had a bit of a weird moveset, and it took some time for me to get used to him. However, it works out because both of those characters wind up having depth, and it feels like you really grow with them when you play them. It's a very well designed game in that aspect.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's true of most of the characters in that game, honestly, except for like Shaggy. I don't think Shaggy has very much depth.
The other things I did this week, my family has started watching season 5 of Better Call Saul. That is a well-constructed, enjoyable show. There's a lot of small details I appreciate with that show. I don't want to get too much into it, but one thing I particularly like is that Vince Gilligan is perhaps trying to observe some lessons he learned from Breaking Bad. The most obvious being in the way that Kim is written, because in Breaking Bad, Walter's wife was Skyler. Skyler was very much opposed to what Walter did, and yet she just kind of accepted it, but bitched Walter out in it for it anyways. So Skyler was not at all a popular character. She was usually the most hated character in the series. So Vince Gilligan is trying to go in kind of the opposite direction with Saul/Jimmy's love interest, Kim, who has some issues with the way that Saul/Jimmy wants to do things, but rather than bitching about it and not really doing anything about it, he's slowly corrupting her, and she's becoming just as bad as he is, which is a very interesting way to take it instead. That particularly, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the early stages of their relationship rather than a failing middle-aged marriage. But Kim and Jimmy's relationship also just seems a lot more genuine. But it also kind of seems like they're stuck in the throes of passion and perhaps doing unwise things because they're still in the lovebird stage, right?
Yeah.
So that's really good. The actors are still fantastic. Giancarlo Esposito is awesome as Gus every time. Jonathan Banks is awesome as Mike every time. And how am I forgetting his name? Soon, what's the name of the actor that plays Nacho and Voss in Far Cry 3?
I don't remember.
Son of a bitch. Well, he's awesome as Nacho. The actor that plays Lalo is great, and it's pretty obvious, Lalo is so great that Kevin Feige or whoever saw him in this and was like, well, there's swordsman.
Mm.
Oh, and it's Michael Mando.
Yes, thank you. Just very good show. We have started Mandalorian again. We are getting farther than we did last time. That is a fun little series. It's interesting, it's very loyal to Star Wars, but at the same time does something very different. It's not just like, well, let's retread New Hope again. It's a very ground level perspective of the Star Wars universe. So I think that's pretty cool. And I forgot that Giancarlo Esposito shows up in that too. So excited to see that. I still think it's one of the weirder castings that's been made ever. That this villain of the series is Werner Herzog, renowned and highly respected German director. Not to say that directors can't act, but it's kind of weird for Werner Herzog, who I think has done some acting stuff in the past, but him to more or less out of nowhere be a villain for a big budget Disney project, That just doesn't seem like him. Let's see. And other than that, the only other thing that I'd say I put a noteworthy amount of time into, there's been a big old heap of Total War news this week, but that's been going for the past couple weeks and will keep going for the next couple weeks until Immortal Empires releases on August 23rd, at which point you shall never see me anymore. Because I will devote my life completely and utterly into the game. There will be nothing else.
I see. I'm
sorry, but I have to do it.
Oh, not come August. Come September, I should be more busy as well, just because of art school.
All right.
I still haven't signed up. I have 3 days.
They'll take you anyways.
Yeah, the problem with that is that they didn't specify if they need a portfolio or not. Because if they need a portfolio, then boy, they're gonna see a lot of buff animal people, and Kirby, but only buff.
Well, they have to judge the technique instead of the inspiration. I would say, yeah.
Although
though I would recommend against sending them hardcore porn.
That's what I was going to say as a joke I wonder what I wouldn't do this, obviously, because it's fucking dumb. But I wonder how an art school would react if you literally just said they were like, hey, send us a portfolio of 100 pieces and you just send 100 fucking pieces of just furry porn.
Yeah.
How do they reply?
But given the amount that people pay for furry porn, I imagine their reply would be, "You don't need art school, sir. You've already got a workable skill."
Maybe they're just like go to marketing school, because you need to do
Yeah.
good marketing if you want to make it big in EF. But yeah,
Oh man. So yeah, Total War gonna be some very exciting stuff there. I've been taking a break for the last 2 months off of work of any kind. That includes channel work, but I really need to get back into making Total War videos because for whatever reason, when I do those, they are generally pretty successful. I just need to, actually stop and sit down and think about what I want to handle in videos next. I definitely think the next video I'd like to handle would just be a simple one of handling my philosophy on these things, but I believe I've talked about this before. As for what's coming out on my channel this week, I think I just released the second RimWorld video yesterday, which, boy, RimWorld, I thought that would be a funny one to play blind on recording. No, that's just, you don't know how to play the game, get fucked, all your colonists died.
Yeah.
Like, that first recording I did was about an hour long. It was not too, well, the gameplay wasn't too bad, but the recording was terrible because most of it was just me reading off, like, tutorial notes and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, for the second one, I'm going to try and not read shit. I'm trying to just try and do. And the moment I start the game, it's like, oh, hey, 2 of your colonists are bleeding. One just bled out. The other one just bled out. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Do you remember what I told you?
No. I don't remember anything.
When you brought up that you want to record RimWorld, I went, okay, so your first 5 tries are going to not work. And then maybe on the 6th one, you will figure out how to get started, and then something else will fuck up, and then repeat.
Well, the thing is that I ran into the fucking problem of I chose 2 colonists. I only had 1 colonist who was willing to do doctoring work, and he was one of the ones that got gutted.
Nice.
And for whatever reason, I could not figure out why, because he had no traits that would indicate as such. But whenever I told him to operate on himself, it just simply said self-doctoring not allowed. So I was just like, what the fuck?
That means
The man
game
literally
thing.
would not. It might, but it was just like he wouldn't fucking bandage up a wound. I wasn't asking him to do self-surgery. It's like, just put a fucking bandage over it, man. No! I don't. No, I don't want it. Fine, fucking die then. I then made the last remaining colonist eat their corpses because the game allowed me to.
Nice.
Mysteriously, she started with the head, which was questionable.
Oh, did you add the weed mod yet,
Anyways.
so you can kill ducks with weed?
No, but I've heard something about Spiffing Brit doing something weird in that game with weed and or human trafficking.
Ah.
Brother. And the last thing I really did this week that's worth talking about is because it got added to PS Plus Premium, I downloaded Avengers again. And I was going in like, this game is going to make me angry, this game is going to make me sad, but I just feel like I'm obligated to see how it is now. And no, I'm actually having a pretty good time with it. It seems like Soon could probably speak more to this because I think he's been paying attention to this stuff. But for one thing, the game just generally kind of feels better. There definitely seem to be less bugs, though there's definitely still bugs, but there's less bugs. It doesn't seem like there are so many ranged moves that cause hit stun. Sadly, there are still too many, but there are definitely less of them. It seems like they went back and changed. One of the bigger issues I had with the game was that characters could not parry unblockable moves. Like Captain America, if Captain America wanted to parry unblockable moves with his shield, he had to, use his ultimate super first. Which is such a stupid fucking thing of, you have unlocked the ability to parry. Why? That's fucking dumb. That should be a core moveset thing. Well, it looks like they changed the game, and now every character can parry unblockables. Fucking thank you. It should have been that way from the beginning, but thank you. And one of the bigger issues of mine being with the ranged attacks in this game, well, they added Black Panther. Black Panther's unique thing is, if you hold the trigger, he can absorb all attacks that are considered light attacks. He just face tanks them. The vibranium suit absorbs them, literally. And it makes him stronger. So anytime... by the way, am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't for certain if I got tripped out of the call. So whenever you have that annoying guy on the other side of the screen who just won't stop shooting at you, Black Panther can literally just stand there and face tank it all, and it makes him better. So when I see a ranged guy's Black Panther, rather than going, oh, god damn it, I go, ah, yes! More! More! I need more power! So that's fun. They also, I don't know if this was there the whole time and I just didn't notice, but it does seem that they lightened up on the whole paying scheme. It definitely seems like it's a lot easier to get costumes. Just do missions, get money, spend money on costumes. Simple enough, would have thunk. So it seems like it's a lot of the classic story that we saw over the last 5 or 6 years, which we saw with Street Fighter V, we saw with Battlefront 2, of these changes are all really nice. They should have been there from the start. This game will never shirk the bad reputation of how it was at launch.
Yeah, first impressions matter.
Yes. And first impressions are the one that gets news headlines. There's been a few, like, the only game to get news headlines for, wow, this game's way better now, is not my. And even then, the majority of people, if you ask, hey, you want to try No Man's Sky sometime? They'll go, no, that game's supposed to be shit. Like, it's a sad thing, but it is what it is. Like, you gotta commend the effort to actually redeem yourself and make a much better game. But this world is not one that appreciates efforts to change. It wants you to be amazing the first time.
Yeah.
But I'm having fun with it. So that is my week.
And I believe we can wrap up this podcast because I don't remember if I have funny pictures this week or not.
Well, Corn's been making up for you. Don't worry.
I don't have funny pictures, but I have a funny video of Jesus at a furry rave. So you know. Anyway, yeah, then we can call it.
All right.
So yeah.
Addy, say bye specifically. Say bye.
Fare thee well.
We will see you later.